Good morning, my name is Matthew Hugo from Weather Commerce, and this is this morning's weather briefing on Monday the 11th of April. Today's weather brief will cover a summary on West European 5-day average temperatures, the UK, Europe, Scandinavian precipitation, and finally global weather alerts. Firstly, we'll take a summarised look at the mean surface temperatures across Europe, and starting with the 11 to 15 day time frame. And there is some model consistency from recent days for temperatures to generally be within 1 or 2 degrees of climate averages across the majority of Europe, as mean surface temperatures are forecast to be generally near to climate norms. Just as a quick reminder that the best performing model is shown in yellow, and the temperature within the middle of the pie chart is the climate average. And between days 6 and 10 there is a general trend for temperatures to remain close to climate averages across the majority of Europe. However, there is a trend for temperatures to become perhaps 2 or 3 degrees below climate averages across eastern areas of Europe, and perhaps parts of France and Spain may also experience temperatures rising to 2 or 3 degrees above climate averages. However, further model consistency is required regarding these temperature trends. And within the short term, over the next 2 to 5 days, confidence levels are high for many central and eastern areas of Europe, including Switzerland, Germany and Austria, to have temperatures at least 4 or perhaps 5 degrees below climate averages, as rather cold conditions persist. In contrast, many western areas of Europe, including the UK and particularly France and Spain, are forecast to have temperatures at least 2 or 3 degrees above climate norms. And now taking a look at the United Kingdom in closer detail. And over the next 2 to 5 days, temperatures are forecast to fall from the very warm conditions which have been evident over recent days and become generally near or perhaps 1 to 2 degrees below our climate mean of 9 degrees Celsius by the 12th and 13th of April. Within the medium to long term, as we move towards and beyond mid-April, there is a general temperature trend, as you can see in relation to the various forecast models, for temperatures to be near or perhaps trending slightly below climate averages. However, there is relatively low confidence regarding this temperature trend. The relatively low confidence is evident due to quite a large spread in the various forecast models. The latest Metro model, as represented by the solid black line, maintains temperatures to generally be near to climate averages throughout the remainder of the forecast period. Yet in contrast, the latest GFS deterministic and ensembles have temperatures at least perhaps 3 or 4 degrees below climate norms. I expect temperatures to be generally between these two forecast models and generally run either near or just slightly below climate averages by 1 or 2 degrees. The following weather chart helps to illustrate why temperatures are likely forecast to be near or slightly below climate averages, as low pressure dominates the weather to the west and northwest of the UK and brings a more sustained period of cooler conditions but also unsettled conditions during and beyond mid-April. And now taking a look at European temperatures in closer detail. And between days 11 and 15, there is a trend for temperatures to be very close to climate norms across the majority of Europe, though perhaps trending slightly below climate averages across some northern and eastern areas of Europe in particular. The latest model comparison graph from Austria helps to illustrate this situation. As you can see, throughout a large portion of the forecast period, temperatures are forecast to run slightly below climate averages, but particularly during and beyond the middle and latter half of this week. Between days 6 and 10 there continues to be generally little sign for any extremes of temperatures, and the majority of Europe are forecast to have temperatures within 1 to perhaps 3 degrees of climate norms. The latest France model comparison graph illustrates this temperature prediction well, and as you can see that beyond the middle of the coming week, temperatures are forecast to be very near to climate averages, with the majority of the various forecast models signalling temperatures to be within 1 or perhaps 2 degrees of climate averages, despite some colder and outlier GFS deterministic runs beyond the 18th and 19th of April. And finally, within the short term, there is high confidence, given good model agreement and consistency, for many central and eastern areas of Europe in particular to have temperatures generally at least 3 to 4 degrees below climate averages. Yet in contrast, many western areas of Europe are forecast to be much milder, with temperatures either near or perhaps 2 or 3 degrees above climate norms. And now taking a look at Scandinavian precipitation totals. And over the next 5 to 7 days, well above average precipitation is expected across many western and northwestern areas of Norway, with an excess of 100 to 125 millimetres of rainfall. Elsewhere across Scandinavia, precipitation totals are forecast to be either near or trending slightly below climate averages. And within the longer term, as we move beyond mid-April, well below precipitation totals are expected as high pressure becomes influential, and as a result many areas are forecast to have less than 25% of normal precipitation totals. And now taking a look at global weather alerts, which highlight significant deviations from normal. And well below average precipitation totals are forecast across a large portion of Australia over the next 7 to 14 days at least, and particularly across the interior and central areas of the country, where little or no measurable rainfall is expected over the next 2 weeks. In contrast, there is quite high confidence for precipitation totals to be well above climate averages across many central and eastern areas of the United States over the next 7 to 14 days at least. Low pressure is forecast to bring the risk of some sustained unsettled conditions, with precipitation totals perhaps in excess of 5 or 6 inches, and there is also a threat of some severe thunderstorm activity and the risk of tornadoes as well in the coming 5 to 7 days. And finally, well above average temperatures are forecast across a large portion of China over the next 7 to 10 days at least. Warm or very warm south or southwesterly winds are lifting mean temperatures above 15 to 20 degrees, which is at least 4 or 5 degrees above climate averages. Thank you for listening to today's weather brief. Goodbye.